Hello, welcome back to Bloodborne, part 18. Okay, from the last part, we left on doing the rest of the Forbidden Woods. So now we are ready to take on the Shadows of Yharnam. So I left back here at the Hunter's Room like I said I would. Didn't move anywhere since. So we want to do loot.
What is it?
Make sure, before we head into a big boss fight, that you spend all your stuff. We don't want any echoes going into a big fight. So I'm just going to put Tinge at 20. And then I'm going to start pumping skill again. Because I want to start doing some bigger damage. Might need one more.
Very well then. Farewell, good man. Welcome. What? Very well then. Farewell.
Okay. Leftover echoes in order to repair or fortify. Remember that I'm not going to upgrade my weapon to +7 just yet because I visited the Canehurst Castle earlier than you probably should, just to grab the Raider Palash and the Evelyn. Go ahead and mess with any of your stuff. No real recommendations when it comes to this boss fight. It's just a huge parry, dodge, and utilization of your NPC helpers kind of a fight, if you choose to go that route. If not, you might want to consider damage reduction, boosting your stamina, and if you're not really satisfied with having more echoes from the fight, because the fight itself generates pretty much just a level up alone normally, so the extra blood echo, since we're doing the dungeons, probably wouldn't help in this situation. So we probably want to do like max boost our max HP by 5% for boss fights for the foreseeable future, and then switch that off to more echoes when you're going through like the normal routes and stuff like that. Remember to keep on the Impurity rune so that we can see the extra summon sign. And then once we're set up, we can go ahead and buy from the Bath Messengers. There's nothing from the Insight pool that we need. Go ahead and spend these on whatever you want. And then any echoes that you get from here, you're okay with losing, just in case you're like, oh, I need to keep chasing down my echoes in the fight. No, you don't. Just focus on the boss from here. So now we want to go back to the Forbidden Woods. And the worst part about going back, like I said, is just that you have to reset everything and kind of find your way back over there. There's no real good lamp setup either, so it's just kind of not the greatest of things, honestly. And then from here, once you take the shortcut down, you want to make sure to take the left side. So we're going back over the bridge. Okay? Not that side. Because that'll just dive you off to the edge. But you want to take this side. You'll have the back attack unless it turns around. You can see visceral damage is climbing super high right now. Snake Man on top. Don't really need to bother with his ass. Or we want to take this, because this is the other shortcut that leads towards the bottom half of the Forbidden Place. Gear setup as well was recommendation for it was the Charred Hunter set, because the enemy, the boss enemy that we're about to fight, has fire damage attached to it. So just be careful for this guy. These dudes can really just ruin your run in like 3 seconds if you're not careful with them. Kind of extra items, to be honest. Biggest worry about this place is going to be the pigs regenerating, so just bear that in mind when you take this route. You want to cut through down here and take the swamp pool down this way. You're going to have to deal with 2 pigs, so just make sure you guide one of them out. They're not so bad at kills either, because they actually give you like a lot of blood vials, so you can deal with these guys as you see fit. But really, it's just the pigs. Pigs are the biggest problem here. Swamp dudes never really chase you up the hill. They just like to stay in that oil, so we'll let them bathe in it. And then you run into the boss area. So like I said, 8,500 echoes. That'll pretty much be the run back each and every single time you die to these guys, so it is absolute shit. And it can be very irritating for first-time goers. And that's not to say if we even survive this encounter either, so. Because it can be a little bit of a shit show. Ooh. But that's why we want that impurity root on, so that we can actually summon 2 hunters. Being that it is a 2-hunter thing, you're going to lose 2 insight for this, so make sure you have enough insight and don't go crazy with buying like fire paper and stuff like that from the insight pool. If you are low on it, just go ahead and pop the 30 some odd Madman's knowledges that we collected up to this point, and you'll have these guys. You want to opt for a faster weapon because these dudes are pretty quick. Just kind of walk with them because they like to get caught on gates and stuff like that. Go ahead and summon this guy. Henrik's back to form. So even though you end up killing Henrik in the overall campaign progressing Eileen's questline, he is still summonable here. And as you can tell, they're called Confederates, meaning that they belong to a covenant. So as long as you wear the old Impurity ring, you'll be able to summon both. I think you get one of them, the younger Madara's twin, if I'm not mistaken, just by opening the gate, and he'll be the helper summon for this fight. Strategies for the Shadows of Yharnam. Basically, just watch out for, like, there's a range dude, and then, like, 2 melee characters. You want to save the range guy for last, even though he kind of spits fire all over the place, so you really do want to keep him in your vision and make sure that his little hit-scanning fireballs don't come near you as much. A katana dude, basically like both swords, you know what I mean? But the katana dude, his is kind of annoying because it can like do kind of a reach attack on you. So he has the range in that manner. Easiest way to kind of go about it is once the Madara's twin, or once Madara's twin or Henrik kind of pick somebody, just go over there and just smash face until you end up killing one of them. Phase 2 is like they'll kind of pop snakes out of their face, and then phase 3 is like a giant snake kind of thing, kind of goes around the battlefield randomly and kind of pops up, tries to eat you. So this fight can get kind of ridiculous, but with the 2 summon helps, we should be all right. It's probably going to be a lot harder with slow weapons, like really slow swinging weapons, because these dudes are quick and they do dodge around. But faster swinging weapons like the Saw Cleaver, potentially the Reader Palak, maybe in trick form, will be enough to be able to do this. This is a really good fight for the Threaded Cane and the Saw Cleaver. Hunter's Axe in standard form might be just too slow at times. So just whenever an opportunity presents itself, if you can get a parry off, just kind of go parry nuts. Shoot your gun if you think you got it, then great. And if you do, circle dodge right into them and hit R1, and then you should be able to get a pretty powerful visceral off. So we'll go ahead and enter this fight and see how it goes. You can add added damage if you need to. Even though they do carry fire on them, they're not necessarily immune to fire. If anything, I think they're actually weak to fire. But I don't need to test that out on this guy, so. But anything else you might need, poison knives, throwing knives, Molotovs, if you can set it up correctly, then do so. But this fight is really just about summon help and not getting cornered or not, getting stuck on pillars or gravestones or anything like that. You actually want to use this giant gravestone off to the right there, as like a little bit of cover if you're playing single player only. That's like your best friend when it comes to kind of kiting them around and taking little small pop shots or slashes at them while their AI is trying to figure out how to get to you. So let's go ahead and do this. So, yep. Like I said, it's scanning for sure. only issue with doing this fight like this is that their health bars are so increased. Then, yep, so those are the giant snakes. Very good, gentlemen. All right, and then we actually earned ourselves a Carol rune there. Blood Rapture. So visceral attacks restart plus 200 HP. It's a very, very neat little fight. Not a big fan of it, like I said. It's just dudes. You know, you can tell in the game where they really didn't really know what to put in this area for a boss. I would have thought like giant snake or something, you know, like anything to that effect would have been more proper for the Forbidden Woods, but they decided to do 3 dudes called Shadows of Yharnam, carry fire, and make it an immensely difficult / almost impossible type of thing to do for like a newcomer jumping into the game, trying to fight 3 dudes at once, not knowing that you could probably get summon help or, you know, anything like that. So, yep, summoning for help does increase the boss's HPs, which is true for every single From Software Dark Souls Soulsborne title. So do that at your own risk. These guys are pretty generally easy to fight by yourself if you know how to do it. If you're doing that route, all you're going to be doing is basically kiting them around this giant stone. You can get caught very easily on it though, which is not like a safe strategy, and poke them like kind of through this stuff, kind of run around it, make their AI kind of chase you, slash around, run out towards this way, use these gravestones as cover from the fire dudes, like little hit scanning fireballs. So there's a lot of neat ways to play it, but obviously you saw there that fight was tremendously easy thanks to the help of the summons and getting, you know, them getting their attention. I was able to pull off like 2 visceral attacks just as I was backstabbing them, and yeah, kind of a cheese way to do it. But I mean, I'm not no gatekeeper of this game, and if you're struggling, use those fuckers. That's what they're there for. And we got our insight back anyway for, you know, successfully doing that encounter the first time around. So with all that, pop a lamp, and you are ready to proceed into Bergenworth. Now, these assholes are assholes. Really want to watch them. Yep. So, he's doing a frenzy attack on us when they jump on top of you like that. And because I have absolutely no frenzy resistance, that meter was climbing pretty high. So, for this area, I would highly recommend putting on the best frenzy resistance that you can afford. which would be the graveyard gear. And a lot of this run is going to be like predicated on graveyard gear and stuff like that. That helps. Because a lot of these later chapter areas are filled with frenzy enemies. And pretty much when frenzy procs on you, when it actually like takes full meter and goes, it takes a ridiculous amount of HP. Pretty much almost an insta-kill worth of HP. So you don't, and we only have one way to heal it, which is the single sedative that we got off a body. So, and there's been no way to recover any since. So you really, really just want to watch out for that. Come over here and we'll just pop this lamp. And go ahead and take a rest and go down to the Hunter's Ring. And that is the Shadows of Yharnam and the rest of the Forbidden Woods. Oh, once again, you're going to do your loop. Now, at this point, because I defeated what I wanted to defeat, I am going to go ahead and fortify one of my two weapons. And what I'm thinking is that because we're coming up on a kin enemy for the next major fight, it is actually like really weak to lightning and thrusting damage. So the Reader Palash does both of those, which is eligible to be equipped with lightning damage for paper, and it has a sort of a stab attack, when it kind of goes R1 and then R1 again for slash poke. And then the R2 is just a straight up slash. So the Reader Palash would be a better candidate because we do have the added electrical damage that we can attach to this thing. If not, straight up rifle spear. But the issue with the fight that we're going to go into is that there are tinier little enemies that I think the rifle spear suffers in that regard because of the speed of the attacks. And you actually kind of want to be really quick in this fight, not really like taking 2 or 3 unnecessary hits at enemies and then just getting jumped on and swarmed, because you can die really quickly, especially like in the later phases of the boss fight. So we'll go ahead and just upgrade the Reader Palash. Repair what we need to repair. If you got any Bloodstone gems that you added just specifically for that fight, go ahead and take them off now and put on the ones that you need for more damage to kin. If you gained any, which at this point we have not. So there's been no sign of any kind of electrical ones, unless you were doing some of the Chalice dungeons. Chalice dungeons are the only exception to this rule, but we've only conquered one so far, so there should be no real reason why you're doing that anyway. I would continue on with having the clockwise metamorphosis on you, and this basic setup that I'm doing right here, especially the damage reduction, is going to come in key for this next boss fight. When I take a look at the insight pool, you'll see that nothing's really changed here. Nothing over here. And nothing's really changed here either. So at this point, if you feel comfortable, you are going to farm echoes at the Hypogean Gel in Yarhagul. Because these prices for the items are about to go up immensely. Because this will be another world state and a pretty much permanent state change for Bloodborne once we defeat this boss. So everything that we know that has been pretty easy up to this point, aside from a few like encounters where we were just getting outnumbered or had to think around the box on how to survive it. These enemies that are coming up in the future are going to be pretty tough to deal with.
Well, what it?
And
Very well. Let me.
I'm just saying things that shouldn't take more than like 2 hits take more than 2 hits. And things that probably shouldn't do like half your bar worth of damage do half your bar worth of damage. So if you've been leveling up your vitality, it's great to probably put that up to 40 or 50 around this time. If you haven't been focusing on anything else but like your main stat for damage, keeping probably endurance low, and then just kind of pumping a lot into vitality. But I'm going to continue the trend of upgrading my weapon's damage, because a glass cannon we shall be.
Farewell, good hunter.
And that's typically how I think a blood-tinged build would kind of look anyway, since we favor parry and gunplay, kind of telling ourselves that we are not supposed to really be getting hit and relying on blood vials and the rally system to get our HP back or whatever. So then after this, you really do want to take a trip down to the Cathedral Ward. And make sure that you've exhausted everyone's dialogue.
Once the night of the hunt passes, give it a thought.
In addition to making sure that you have exhausted everyone's dialogue, you also want to ensure that you've gotten every single NPC up to this point in the game.
Oh, hello. Sorry, dear. I'm only so...
Oh, there you are. You're early, dear. Is anything the matter? You can always tell me. Mother will make everything better.
So the old lady that has been kind of really mean and harassing us since the beginning, I think her trigger was after the Vicar Amelia fight, that her dialogue changes, so I should have came back in here and showed that anyway. But you want to go ahead and exhaust her dialogue for sure.
What's wrong? Anything you'd like to tell me?
Go ahead and say I have my share of woes.
Boy, you poor thing. But don't you worry. This will help you forget your troubles.
And she will give us free sedatives.
Oh, what is it, dear? Are you in a bind again? Oh, boy. You
Go ahead and tell her again.
But don't you? This will Oh, are you in a... Oh, but this...
I don't know if the sedatives are tied to like how many different places you visited or bosses you've defeated up to this point before the Vicar Amelia fight, but it's something that you might want to look up online or something.
What is it? Are you in... Oh, my. Oh, now. Have some patience. Mother will make everything. Now.
So you want to see that now be patient line, because we're going to do something here.
I've noted what I can't stand.
He'll always be like that, so don't worry about him.
Ah, have you? Forgive me.
Now, very important is, if you don't want Ariana's blood and you want to take Adela's blood, this is the time to do it now, because after we change the world state, and whose ever blood that you're really carrying up to this point in the game, the other one is just not going to have shit to do with you when the world state changes. So make sure you're good with your decision on how you want those quest lines to play out, and just kind of wiki to see like how it really does play out. Because I honestly can't tell you. I've never done Adela. You can see the ghost faces are all kind of gone in the way. Back dude's still there. These guys are ever present. Really no reason to run up here, though. I just kind of wanted to show that the guy behind the carriage has finally disappeared. And then after we've gotten that dialogue from the old woman, you want to go ahead, and this is the crazy part. You can transfer back and forth between the Hunter's Dream and back to the Cathedral Ward, or you can just do this. We want to exit. And then you're going to see a note. Hold on just to be a wee bit, dearie. Okay. So she's actually going to just tell us to hold on, which is okay. We're good with that. And then you're going to go ahead and do it again. After you read the note, you got to read the note first. This part I can never remember if she actually triggers or not. I'm not sure if you have to go back and forth to the Hunter's Dream to actually do this, so we'll do both methods. So I don't want to exit again and nothing happens. Talk to creepy guy.
Oh, another one you sent made it here safe and sound. This place is a real there ain't a peep to be heard, not in the old town. I doubt there's any. God save us. There ain't no more survived Yharnams. There ain't no more Yharnams.
Maybe it's triggering his dialogue. I really don't.
Oh, hello, Simon.
Ah, have you? Forgive me.
Honestly, I don't know if it was the trigger for talking to him or what, but now Adela's sitting down, and here comes the old lady.
Ah. Welcome home, dear. You've been very, very... Here you are. Forget your trouble. Ah. Anything? Oh, my. Oh, now, Bubble. Now. Ah. Forgive me.
Okay, then I want to exit again after grabbing that sedative. That should be the final sedative you get from her. We'll see. And there we go. Yep. Wait a wee bit longer, my little sweet pea. Then if you travel outside the door here, you are going to find the old lady is dead. With the final sedative. Okay, so there was one more to go on that. So yeah, everything in almost every Souls game, the NPCs that you come to meet throughout the world don't get attached. There's usually some kind of death that's always kind of acquainted with them in the end of their quest lines. So you're saying, like, what it was her quest line? You know, there really isn't one. I mean, you either have the choice of putting her to the clinic or throwing her over to the chapel. So if you choose the clinic route, you know, blue alien runs around, get a rune. And if you choose the chapel, then, you know, you kind of go back and forth, talk to her. The idea is that you're supposed to pop in and out of the chapel, talking to the NPCs every single time you make a new route or defeat a new boss or something of the sort. And they have new, you know, things of dialogue. But all we did was just basically abuse the exit game feature, so that it reset the world state and, you know, pretty much progressed the NPC's dialogue lines forward. So doing that all the way through, you know, she gives us way more sedatives than we had at one point, which just one heading into a frenzy area. You still don't want to use them, though, because I don't think the fly dudes are really worth using them on. You just saw that one guy popped me, and my bar went up, but it went right back down. So those aren't really the most dangerous enemies that we have to deal with when it comes to that. But that'll be the end of the maid. She did well to give us the sedatives at least, but paid for everything by leaving the safety of the chapel. And you come over to Creepy Guy and he'll have some sad dialogue for it.
Oh, kind hunter. The old girl you sent over, she's dead. Killed, stone dead. Why? Must have been a beast, right? Or do you think someone out there could have... I just don't... Oh... Well... I do know. It's my fault. Oh my... Was it a beast? Or could someone from outside have come in and... Oh, just...
They don't care.
Was it a beast? Or could someone from outside have come in and... Oh...
Yep.
Oh, hello, son.
Then everybody else should pretty much be the same.
Have you forgiven?
So yes, the death of Adela. I'm just kidding. The death of the old lady. That's going to be pretty much it for this part. So, because Bergenworth and the boss that's in that area do kind of take a little bit of time. Even though it's a very small area, it still garners some exploration. A kind of pretty tough NPC fight in the mansion. I only say that in air quotations because there's only one move that if the hunter gets it off, it just pretty much insta-kills you. But for the most part, it's a hunter, so parry, dodges, keeping it straight, you know, straightforward fight. You can win it, but if they just kind of spam this one stupid-ass move, then you're in for a really bad time with that, I'll tell you that much. So we'll just return to the Hunter's Dream with our newly acquired sedatives. Go ahead and keep on to your runes. The fight itself isn't really that tough. It's just not, you're just not knowing what to do is what's going to really kind of get you killed. And honestly, at this point, if you do want to take on more of the Chalice dungeons, I mean, feel free to do it, because we will be really kind of overpowered by the time that we take on the next two dungeons at the very least. But we, you know, I'm just waiting. I just want to get more of the story out of the way, and we want to tackle the dungeons with pretty decent firepower going into them, because they're a little monotonous. And, you know, like, even though the items that you do get for doing the dungeons are pretty cool, we've been waiting and holding off on doing the rest of them until we acquire a certain rune that we are about to get from an NPC encounter. So nothing new around the old Hunter's Dream. Repair is needed. Find and meet Gurman and if he's ever going to show up. We'll go ahead and change these dudes. Oh, that's terrible. I think we did the top hats. We'll go ahead and just keep the ribbon on, I guess. We did the bloody messengers, and now we're doing the pink ribbon, red ribbon, whatever it's called. And yeah, that'll do it for this part then. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you back in Bergenworth. What I'm going to do is just transfer it over there. And we will pick up immediately from Bergenworth and into the next big boss fight. Oh, it's also very important to mention, after the Vicar Amelia fight, if you do want to venture over to the Old Hunters DLC, you can now do that. So just wanted to make a mention of being able to do that, because I don't think I did after I killed Vicar Amelia. And you're going to need an item that, after you kill Vicar, you have to go back to the Hunter's Dream, and then you're going to pick up the Eye of the Blood Drunk Hunter. And then once you pick this up, you can interact with the tombstone that the doll keeps kind of laying, like, kneeling next to and praying to whenever she's not in her original spot. And then that tombstone will transport you over to the beginning of the DLC for Bloodborne. So just something that to kind of keep in mind, and the only reason why you probably would want to do that is if you want to go on a couple of suicide runs and grab weapons from the DLC, so that you can start using those in the main campaign rather than waiting all the way until New Game Plus or something like that in order to get use out of those weapons, and not just using them specifically for DLC. There's a couple that you can pick up from suicide running, and then there's one really good one that you would have to pick up from a boss fight. Probably would be very impossible if you're a new player, and with the kind of stats and stuff you're supposed to have for that place, you'd be going in there severely underleveled. So just tidbit on how that's all going to shape out. But when we come back, we will go ahead and venture deep into Bergenworth, which is a very quick map. Nothing much to it but this mansion and a couple things upstairs. Make sure that you do have insight for the summonable NPC right there. I think you can only see it as long as you have the Impurity rune on, so you definitely do want this guy, because he draws a lot of like bullshit attention away from you, especially during the Hunter fight. So, and then there's also an additional one that's inside the building as well. So you can actually take 2 NPCs into the next big boss fight, even though I consider it kind of useless and worthless to do that in a way, because the NPCs die rather quickly in the arena, and as we mentioned with the Shadows of Yharnam, once you summon NPCs, the boss's health bar goes up a shit ton. So I would probably just use the NPCs to kind of clear out all of Bergenworth, and then save, exit the game, and then re-enter with no summons, so then you can fight the next big boss with just a reduced HP pool, just so we're not like kind of dealing with a giant HP bar, very dangerous enemies, and a lot of chaotic crap, you know, while having a health bar that was just super plussed up for no reason. But we'll get all to that in the next video. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.